Okay, now we're going to answer your questions, some common questions that have come up over Men's League. Number one, how do we publicize Men's League at the church? The answer is you don't. There are no pulpit, bulletin, or website announcements. Men's League is not exactly a secret, but it's not advertised either. And why do we do it that way? Because Men's League is an invitational ministry rather than an attractional one. There's never a open meeting for men to come and find out about Men's League. We don't put it in the bulletin. We don't say, hey, anybody want to be involved in a Men's League? Just come on out. It is not attractional. It is invitational. Men get invited. Men get called into Men's League. And that makes it different than most of our men's ministry in the church. Question 2. A guy wants to join, but the groups are all full. Now let's say there's a guy in the church who heard about Men's League and he really wants to join. Now what do? Resist the temptation to pull up a chair. Now, you be kind to the guy. You can take his information and call him when there's an opening. In reality, openings will come. But you got to remember, if you tell a guy that he can't be a part of this group right now because the groups are full, do you think that's going to drive him away? No, that's going to drive him toward it. Because men love experiences that are limited. Certain men, they would much prefer to fight their way into an organization than just be given a free pass. So, don't worry about it. Remember the example of Jesus in Luke chapter 6. He called all his disciples together, and not everyone made it into the inner circle. So that's okay. Jesus didn't worry about it, and neither should we. Question 3. A guy wants to be a coach, but he's not a leader of men. That's a tough one. Guys all think they're good leaders, but you do your leadership inventory and you find out he's not really a leader of men. So what can you do? Well, give him meaningful work to keep him on his team. You want to keep good guys in the league. We need good players on our teams. And if he absolutely insists, he's been in the league 3 or 4 years and it's time for him to be a coach, then partner him with a very dynamic leader who can do most of the leading. That's the other advantage of having men working 2 by 2. If you've got a really good, strong leader, he can have maybe not quite a strong co-leader, a co-coach or whatever, and it's not such a disaster as putting a guy with no leadership skills in a coaching position. Question 4. What if a guy disappears? This is the coolest thing about Men's League. If a guy just disappears or doesn't show up, what happens? His coach calls him. His buddy calls him. His other coach calls him. The big scandal in the church today is how men disappear. George Barna tells us that over half of the people who receive Jesus Christ in our churches abandon the faith within 8 weeks of making that decision. That just cuts me to the heart. But if you've got a men's league and a guy decides that he wants to follow Christ and you've got an opening and you plug him in, is he going to fall through the cracks? Is he going to disappear? No. If he disappears, he's going to have guys blowing him up on the phone all the time. Hey, where are you, you knucklehead? Get over here. That's what we need. We need a structure around men that makes it impossible for them to fall through the cracks. Now, let's say you've been calling this guy, 4 or 5 meetings go by and he's not there. You give him one more call and you say, look, we're going to fill your spot. Or if he says, man, I got to drop out, then no hard feelings. You fill his spot with another one. Let another take his place. Unfortunately, that's going to happen sometimes, but that's the reality. If you've got guys waiting, fill his spot. Question 5. What happens in the 4th year? The 4th year could be a very exciting experience for your guys because you've got 12 trained coaches and you got 72 trained players. So what do you do with them? You need a way to direct all that energy into a valued ministry. So one of the ideas I have is you could do a tripod model. You could continue doing 1/3 study, 1/3 support, and 1/3 service. Study, you could transition to a more traditional Bible study or book study type model. As far as support goes, that's guys hanging out, guys doing things together, guys fellowshipping. And then the 1/3 service is real important too, because that's the outflow of the blessings that have come in. You got 86 guys. Think big. What could you do? Hey guys, let's build an orphanage in Romania. Or, whatever it is. Think big, because you've got guys in teams. Or maybe there's a need right in your community that could be met by 6 teams of 12 guys. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. Once you have your guys in functioning teams, you can really do some serious stuff, serious ministry. Question 6. Can we ever grow beyond 72 men? Yes, by starting a new league. Ideally, you'd find 2 coaches who are ready to become commissioners. And then they can recruit some coaches out of their team and start the process all over again. Or they can cherry pick players from other teams who are ready to be coaches. And that's the way that this model can multiply. And you don't have to limit it to just 86 guys. I mean, you could have, in a big church, you could have 4, 5, 6 different leagues. You could have hundreds of guys. But each league would only be a total of 86 men. Question 7. We're a small church. Can we do this on a smaller scale? Absolutely. Just start with 2 commissioners and 4 coaches. And as soon as it's practical, help 1 pair of coaches build the first team. You know, if you're a church of 150, I think it'd be very easy to build a men's league of 20 or 25 guys. You got 2 commissioners, 4 coaches, and maybe 12 to 15 players. The cool thing about men's league is it's infinitely scalable from very small to very large, all the way up to 86, and then multiple groups of 86.